Welcome backstage with the Simple Church Podcast. Already off to a good start.
We have digressed.
Yes, you can't hear anything.
It's been, 3 years since I've been here?
I think that's what we determined.
And we just mimed the opening.
Because I can't even get earphones.
We got rid
to
of
hear
the
what's going on.
headphones. It looks cleaner, less stuff, but only
But
Jordan
that
hears.
means I have to guess.
So we can't hear each other, except live.
I say in the room, yeah. Welcome,
I guess that counts.
John Haigler, back
Sorry.
on the podcast.
Already causing problems.
Justin Haigler, Josh Mitchell, Evan Semanco, and Jordan Phillips just off screen today.
Yeah.
He is here.
I probably took his seat, didn't I?
No, we're glad to have
That's
you,
where I saw
John.
it last week.
We are excited to have you back. You're an original podcaster.
I am.
You took a little break. Came back.
3 years. Just a little break.
He was on sabbatical. It was fine.
Yeah, I had
That's
to go get my mind right.
Welcome back. You built a
Yes.
building in the time of that.
Yeah.
Had a project. Thanks
Right.
for listening. Thanks for watching on Facebook and YouTube, wherever you're watching. If you're listening to the audio version later, join us every Monday live, 3:30. I think we got 5 or 6 folks trickling in. Kathy Carter, first one here always. Says,
Kathy,
"Good
way to go,
afternoon."
Kathy.
Thanks for joining
Thanks
us.
for being in the seminar yesterday, Kathy. We appreciate you.
That's what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
That's why John's here. Jordan's fixing my mic. If you just see a pair of hands magically appear, thank you.
It's old magic hands.
You can't hear yourself. You're too far away.
That's it. That's it. Thank you, Jordan. That's why he's the best in the
Hey,
business.
but we can hear ourselves just fine.
In the room.
Yeah, I can hear
In
myself.
the room.
I'm like,
That's why we have a producer.
Yeah.
So let us know your questions, comments live. If you're watching later, email us podcast at thesimplechurch.tv. And John, you led a seminar yesterday is why we invited you. But we're just always excited to have you back. Cut up.
Thank
Have
you.
a good time.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was. I have to teach with my wife, which is always cool.
It's awesome.
Told everybody from the very get-go she's the smart one, so mainly listen to her. I'm just here for comedic relief. So that's
And I
kinda
was
how
in
it
there,
went.
and that's pretty close. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And so these seminars, we're doing them on Sundays at 10 a.m. as an experiment. We got the space in the studio where we are now doing the podcast. We'd love for you to join us this coming Sunday, Capable Parenting with Christy Aguiar, our children's pastor, the book. We'll talk some more about that. But John, you and Theresa about spiritual growth. Give us one good takeaway, one nugget
Well,
from
one
your
of the
seminar.
funny things is it was supposed to be in relation to family, because in our family series right now, so we asked both of our daughters, like, hey, what stuck? What really worked? We got some good feedback from them, but Ashley came into the podcast or into the seminar just to make sure we told the truth.
Yeah.
Fact check.
It's
Yeah,
important.
so she was fact checking us. But yeah, one takeaway, like we said, first thing we said was we would not speak about parenting until our kids were adults. Because for years they asked us to do a parenting seminar. I'm like, oh no, it's too early. I'm not sure how they're going to turn out yet. But we do feel like we finally got far enough along. But it was cool because we went through the habits that Justin preached on the week before. But we did it in relation to what we actually did in our family to apply those habits. So hang time with God right off the bat. Mine happens to
Early
be
morning.
first time, 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a walk, 30-minute content, and 30 minutes of just listening to what God is trying to tell me. So that's kind of how I do my hang time. And everybody's is different. So
5 a.m.
5 a.m.
What did the kids say?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's different, of course, because Lauren has a kid now. So she's actually trying to parent, where Ashley just has dogs. But she'll argue that she's parenting already because she has dogs.
That's right.
So,
There's dog
Spiritual
parents.
dogs.
dog
We don't get 'em
parenting,
there.
right.
Spiritual dogs.
But they would say that both of their experiences have been different because they're different kids. But for Ashley, she jokingly says that she learns like me, which mine is mainly auditory. I like to listen to audiobooks. I don't read a lot of books. I do everything by ear. She's similar. So she listens to a lot of content, podcast or what have you, where Lauren is a massive reader, studier like Theresa.
Yeah.
So that's just one way that they kind of picked up two different styles. But the thing they both enjoyed the most is we started every day with quote-unquote breakfast together as a family, which at that time was really a Pop-Tart was our go-to.
He said
Good
nothing wrong with the
breakfast right
podcast.
Ain't
there.
nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's some good ones out there. They kind of get a bad rap now, but anyway, but they both like starting the day with that. And Ashley had the funniest response. She goes, I like starting the day because that meant that I didn't have to deal with it at the end of the day.
That's keeping it real.
That's real right
See,
there.
I'm glad y'all getting this out of the way.
Yeah, let's get this done while we're sleeping. But yeah, that was one of the things that kind of came out of that.
That's one
good.
approach. Jess, what about y'all? You talked about it some last week with your kids and the verse with Ian and all the different things. What's one thing that you did with your family like that? We kind of talked about the drive time. We talked about some of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to ask them. I haven't asked them specifically, but I mean, if I look back on it, they had a ride to school and a ride home from school every day of their life until they could drive. So that's unique. So you have that unique drive time that you're able to spend with them. So usually, because I was in the Stockwell drop-off line,
What?
and that's when I said we would do a little quiet time book and just try to help prepare them for the day. And, they'd laugh. I mean, it'd go because it was a kid's devotional book, so it wasn't like it was heavy or difficult. And then now I would probably say they're all different, but like we're memorizing the scripture or putting things in front of them, they all do to a degree. So in other words, whether that's like I gave Hannah the credit this past week is say you won't or whatever, it's like it's this whole whatever to go remind ourselves that God has been faithful to us or won't he do it, because you have your moments of insecurity and doubt, but then you see him come through and you have to remind each other. Sometimes that reminder's a mirror writing. It's kind of like, I don't know if I really know what's going on this week, but I better put it in front of me. And Angie, and I don't do that at my house. I used to put one on the dashboard occasionally if I really need to do something, but every one of them to some degree has something put up somewhere, and I think that's important just because you're putting their word out. Yeah, I don't think any of us, as far as an organized activity, sit down and study together as a family. They have their own individual journeys. Yeah. I mean, of what they're doing and what stage of life they're in. And Ian's even like being involved in church. Ian goes to church up in New York. I mean, which that's an impressive thing when you get all the way up there and you think, would somebody really do that? Hey,
like your parents making you over your shoulder.
Yeah, like Emma's very involved over in Ruston or whatever, So and she works in the children's ministry over there, and then does an after school program and all that kind of stuff. And then Hannah's probably like me growing up. She's like, hey, I'll come to church stuff, but I don't know that I'm gonna keep going and doing all the extra, but she'll do anything you ask her to do, or like if there's something to get involved, because her favorite things to do mission trips. She don't want to miss any of them. But as you age and work, and they're trying to make money and decisions and all those things, they're still trying to figure out what that looks like to walk with God as an adult versus organized children activities or student activities. Yeah. And like when me and Hannah went to Africa, I think that was probably one of the most spiritual experiences for her. Just because it wasn't studying it, it was living it. So like you see a whole nother side of the planet and people living out their faith in poverty or in, unique situations that we are aware as a kid. And when you're younger, you don't like how often you get to see that.
Right.
And Juarez is totally different. I mean, than like another third world country, but God, I don't know why. It's like God is doing some unusual or different things over there. So it's a different experience, and that's a growth thing there too. And that goes back to being involved in accountability. Hey, you need to go. I'm going to go. Don't miss this trip. There's all those habits that are involved in that. But I don't know. Hopefully that answers it.
No, yeah, it's great. And if you're looking for things like that, like I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to read to my kids. I don't know what to do. Simple Kids gives a sheet at all grade levels every Sunday. And so we talked about some families that came that checked it out. Some of the kids were not sure about going in there. When your kids do get there and get a chance to drop them off, get over that fear, Christy has great resources. She wants to help them, and those sheets make it super easy. So we read Willa's little sheet every week, and we put it on the fridge. And so she can come over, and God made her special is her thing right now. And they repeat it every week and reinforce it. And then you go at home, and it gives you that already printed, made resource in that little purple bag with gummies, which is her favorite part.
Love it.
So that is to try to help you to have those, because we know it's intimidating sometimes, and you don't know where to start and how to begin. So your seminar is great for that, John. I think the one this week with Christy will be great for that, trying to help you feel more confident as parents, know what to do.
Talking about resources, one of the things we mentioned yesterday is a book called Sticky Situations. And it was probably the favorite of the girls growing up because it was very quick, but it actually described a scenario that you might encounter as a teenager. And then it would have a biblical response to that. Everything from bullying to, low self-esteem to worry about a test coming up. So that was like a daily little tool. And it's still available. The book's still published to this day.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to take a look at that book.
And if you have questions, please reach out. We'd love if you have a certain topic or something you're dealing with. Email us. Question, drop it in the comments here. If you're watching live, if you're listening later, we'll be happy to help you and find the resources, because some of them not so great. And sometimes it's hard to go and look at what's on Amazon or try to find out where to start. So we would love to help recommend, find those things for you and get you those resources in your hands. We got folks watching. We got folks talking. Excited to be here with us. We appreciate Kathy. We said Dave Kruger is always here. He said, "Is it a good idea for John and Justin to be sitting that close together? Should we split them up?"
I mean, we lived together for most of our lives.
Shared a room.
We
You know.
shared a bedroom till I was 22.
That's a long time.
So, yeah.
That's
And
Layla
I
and Chloe
got tired of listening to him talk to different girlfriends
On the landline.
on the landline.
landline.
We eventually got a phone line in our room that was separate from our parents.
Oh my god!
And I go, yo, you go to sleep. No, I'm here.
If you find an old enough
I hear
phone
you
book,
breathing.
if you find an older phone book, there's my parents' number and then there's our number.
So what does it say?
It just said John and Justin.
John and Justin.
Yep.
Wow.
Which
And a
is
separate phone number.
that's next level.
Different
right?
generation.
Yeah. Well, Mom got tired of not having a phone. She's like,
You guys
"I'll
are
fix
locking it
this."
up.
You want to hear a funny story about how old we are? We went to my uncle retired from his job this weekend, so we went over there and did all the celebration and stuff. And we were at their house. Don walked through the kitchen. He's getting his food, fixing his plate or whatever. He looks over. He sees a phone on the counter. He goes, "What kind of phone is that?" We're like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" It's like, because they still have a landline. He goes, "Oh, buddy,
wow.
that's a landline." He goes, "So why does it have a cord?"
Oh, yeah.
Didn't
Just
understand.
Full no understanding of that. Never seen one of them. Never knew anything about it. He thought it was a myth, but yeah,
Real.
Oh no!
That's
Yeah,
how
we had to share. I mean, that wasn't no myth we were in either. What do you think that room was? 8x8, 10x10 maximum,
Prison cell size, whatever that is.
and two twin beds.
Twins.
Well, they were bunk beds originally, like the kind of the T-shaped ones
Yeah.
where one was under the other. And then it was eventually one of those beds under a bed. What do they call that? A trundle bed?
Trundle.
bed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
My
so it
kids
would be
have those.
tucked away during the day, and then one of our beds would roll out
More
at
room
night.
for activities.
Yeah,
And I'm
just
telling
keep
you,
thinking about
tiny man.
Yeah.
Rooms are tiny.
and we're like grown
22
men
is
by
pretty
this-
old. I was married at 22.
I mean, at 16,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we just loved each other. It was such
Sure,
a
there were
whole lot of
no-
love
Just
and hugs.
love
and-
fest.
a lot of hugs for sure.
Hated to
it
move
was-
out.
Hated to move out. I can just tell you there was a whole lot of fighting and
Yeah.
arguing, and eventually we figured it out.
Mom's only rule was we had to fight outside.
Yeah.
It's a good rule.
So when it was
break
hot
anything,
outside, we
fight
didn't fight as
outside.
much.
It wasn't don't fight. It's just don't do it in here.
Just don't do it in here.
That's
Oh,
right.
she was-
But speaking of your childhood, Justin, Steve Smith watching on YouTube. We are on YouTube Live as well as
Steve.
Facebook. Steve wants to know he wants you to know how much he laughed about your gym shower experience.
Well,
That is real.
that got you fired up.
Well, I had a lot of people like making comments about it, but I cannot say it clearly enough. That's not make believe.
That is truth.
Like you think about like being a sixth grader, and in the 70s and 80s, there was no.
change out, but we were not forced to shower. They had
Oh
showers.
no, we had
Oh
to.
no.
No, it was-
That's what I'm trying to say. Is like that's what
Right.
everybody wanted to know. What's difference in the generations?
Yeah.
Okay, so just go on back. Just get in your mind.
Did they just not want you to smell bad at school?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, think about it. How about stinky
Hot,
you are? Like you've been out
stinky
running,
teenage
and you
boys.
get a room of 30 boys.
Axe spray had not been invented yet. They were
Fixed
just
everything.
coating everything.
That just made it all better.
Oh, there was no option.
No,
you
sir.
go in there and you get in that shower, boy. And it was every
Grown
literally man from. Oh, some of them are grown. I promise you. Not me. I had, like I said in the last hour, my head was big, but my body was little. You heard me? I hadn't grown into this big head yet. I was like a little stick boy walking in there, like, what is happening in here?
Took you back.
It is.
Oh, man.
That is not made
So is that
up.
the same experience for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
And there's other old people out here. So I had women texting me, literally saying the same thing. People that I know real well. I won't give them their names because they're all good friends. They're like, as bad as it was for you as a young man, we were no different as young ladies. That was the culture.
Right.
Like, it didn't matter if you were male or female. If you're in the female locker room, you go in there and you shower. Well, you've never been around anybody nude.
Right.
And it don't matter. Like, buck up. Let's go. Get in there and go, and let's
Go
get
there and
on.
get yourself clean and get
Get
out.
clean. Let's go.
Yeah, you didn't stay in there long.
No. Quick showers.
Trust me, there wasn't anybody lingering, hanging out.
No, they're like, it's just a totally different world. And you're talking about anxiety versus,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I said it. I just meant my brother, I was worried about it. My brother drugged me to school. That's a fact.
That
I'm gonna
is
have to bring
true.
that back up next year when we go to camp and those kids start getting nervous about using the Fuego bathrooms. Like, y'all got 2 curtains.
Hey, and I'll even say it, I mean, early student ministry, Cup Ozark, they had showers.
I remember. I was there as a 7th grader.
That wasn't that long ago.
I showered in my swimsuit far away.
And
You would have got laughed out of the school.
Yeah, you couldn't have done it.
I
They wouldn't-
get it.
Yeah, they weren't letting you.
You
do
weren't
that.
leaving nothing on back then.
No, and the coaches were not like this. Was not
No,
a
it's old
sensitivity
school.
class.
Right.
Nah.
This is a guy who's smoking a cigar. You know what I'm saying, or a cigarette. You know what I'm saying, and like
Go and get in that
yeah,
bag.
yeah, going in there and what I told you to do now.
Yeah.
And it's just different. Everything's different.
Yep. Very.
That's so funny. Joey
Cafeteria.
Hooker watching said he had the same experience of basic training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go. Like
but I
throw
mean,
it
like
on.
cafeteria, like. I mean, it's just true. Lunchables. I made fun of it at the 11 o'clock hour. My kids have Lunchables. There wasn't no Lunchables.
No.
Lunchable. Lunchable was grab a quarter and get to the church. I mean, get to the school.
I remember in high school when they finally added a milkshake line.
That's all you ate. Wasn't
That's
it?
all we got.
Milkshake.
It was a separate line. You had like your hot meal. You had a milkshake line. Well, you know which one dominated.
Oh, no
That
doubt.
milkshake line
Big
was
Shug.
outdoors.
It wasn't just me.
So did y'all bring your beat? Don't be embarrassed now. Did your mama make you lunches all the way through?
Oh, absolutely.
No. Not once.
All the way through
Not
middle
one
school
single
for
time.
sure.
He said no.
Absolutely.
No.
Oh, classy said
That's
no.
right. Chicken day at airline was a big deal.
Oh man, chicken day. I want to go back to airline for a chicken day.
Was it fried chicken or
Yeah.
chicken
Yes.
fingers?
Fried
Fried
once a week.
chicken. My
And the
girls talk
old
about
chicken
it.
day
too.
because they changed it while I was there and started doing some chicken strips or whatnot. I'm
That
talking
wasn't
about
the
the
same.
real chicken with the bone in it.
Yeah.
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 See, that's what I'm saying. It was a whole different way. You didn't have parents packing your lunches back then.
Thank you, Pam.
You know.
Well, and going back to even the seminar, one of the things that we talked about that really wasn't spiritual, but it was
A little encouraging note.
every Friday we went and had Friday treat.
Oh, that's cool.
So you would pick up the kids from school. And I'm talking about up until they were like high school,
Yeah.
until they started driving themselves. And you would go wherever, whether it be Dixie Mart or Baskin Robbins or whatever the treat for the day was, and you celebrated finishing that week.
Yeah.
And that brings up, like, going back to, we didn't have that when we were growing up.
Celebrating a week.
I mean, no, you were just lucky you got through the week.
You made
Didn't
it
get a
home. That
beating.
was the celebration.
Right. You
Angie-
live another week.
And Angie wrote notes to our kids and all the
Yeah.
lunches. So, like, I mean, I think our kids had that all the way through, too, like a little spiritual reminder or truth or encouragement or whatever. You think Mama Juju going to put a note in our lunch?
Right.
You know, she's smoking that Misty and said, get on out there and go to school. Now, I got to go clean these houses.
Probably the craziest thing we did, and it was mainly on me, ironically, is I told an original story every night when they went to bed.
That's
Like
next
a
level.
bedtime story, but it was not a classic or
For how long?
until they were too old to appreciate it.
I mean,
I wouldn't have lasted a week.
Every night. And it couldn't be, and Lauren's rule was it couldn't be a Lauren story, which meant I couldn't take her day and recap.
Right.
Because that's what I started doing originally, because I would there was a little girl that went to school day. She'd say, that's a Lauren story.
That ain't
And it
working.
couldn't be a wolf story. So nothing about Big Bad Wolf, or that were her two rules.
Oh.
No Lauren stories and no wolf stories.
How is a big bad wolf a real story about your life?
He was scary too.
It was a metaphor.
So they got pretty weak toward the end.
Yeah, well.
After you go years and years. But yeah, every
That's
night.
too funny.
And it had a spiritual twist. It was always
Every
about,
time.
Yeah, it was always about God's, got your back or whatever. So yeah.
So those two things that y'all just recounted about spiritual things that you were doing with your kids, would y'all say that was the most impactful, or just something that y'all did?
Ooh. I'd
Oh,
say,
go ahead.
I
I'll let
would
you go
say
first.
for me, there were definitely more impactful moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like one that's famous to this day is Lauren is a planner, and she's a little organized person. So even as a little kid, she planned a neighborhood party, but nobody cooperated with the plan. So she had a meltdown. It was in our circle. There was a tree out there. She had this party in her mind. And the famous story is I took her into the garage. I cracked open a Pepsi, handed it to her, and I said, let's talk. And I gave her the life lesson of plans don't always work out the way you hope they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
But it was awesome that you tried, and don't be
not
discouraged.
fun in the moment.
And so that would be like a moment. But that wasn't all the time.
Right.
The mornings were every weekday there was some type of little devotional or whatever, and then every night they got a story. So beginning and end of the day, there was some amount of quality time that was spent with them that was focused like that.
Yeah, see, I would say that if you look back, that it is the culmination of many things.
Mm-hmm.
So like the consistency of being in church, like now what's different for us is they can all go, well, you were a preacher's kid and all those things. And that's true because they're coming. They're usually your family's involved at whatever's going to go on. But what goes beyond that to me is everything that's involved with that. So whether that be going on a mission trip, whether that's a quiet time in a car, whether that's attending church, whether that's serving a donut, whether that's
being in a life group.
Yeah, being in like dropping them off at life group, going to camp, all these different things. There's a consistent connection with God through life that is undeniable. So they don't look back and go, I don't have those memories. Where like everybody, we talk about this still to this day is like, if there's no consistency and there's other things that are the priority, well, then that's kind of an extra thing where really when you look back, it was, hey, you got in the car, you had a little quiet time that morning. It's not overdone. It's just a little bit in every daily activity. And then like John said, maybe it's a bad thing and you go, here's what God's going to teach you through that. You're just grabbing those little moments because isn't that Christianity? It's like it's a part of who you are. It's not a programmed thing you do.
Right.
It's kind of like this is what that looks like. And as a kid, there's some things, of course, that are programmed, but then there's other things. It's like, I mean, my kids would say, if you were to ask them what was the most impactful thing they do, I think they would all say, because we've said in the past, but I'd love to know, like, updated. It was going on mission trips and stuff. It was not sitting in a Sunday school classroom.
Right.
And the reason why, I think they enjoyed those things, but I think where God taught them other things was when they were pushed to do something a little different than what they thought they were going to do. They kind of like look back and go, man, that was fun. That was a moment for them or something special where it's not like the other things weren't important or valuable. It was just like, man, what sticks with them is like, man, I remember doing this that first time or that. And that's why I kept telling y'all, if I'd gone back, we would have probably done that differently. I would have put more emphasis on that. All those little quiet times, all that stuff's good.
Yeah.
But then, boy, and they can, like, God loves people. So the more people they're exposed to and the different people they're exposed to, colors, backgrounds, incomes, like whatever, I think all of that really does help you. Because you can study it, but then you can kind of go back and go like, man, let me put that into action, which Lauren's in the ministry. So every day now she's putting it in the ministry. I mean, she's having to put that in. Trust me, she knows now more than ever. Like, wow, there's a lot of diversity out there. There's a lot of different people, a lot of different
Spanish
problems.
mission, right? In the family.
Yeah, and I was going to add to that, like I think Theresa mentioned yesterday in the seminar that she followed the kids through their ministries also. So she was in the kids' ministry and they were little. They did hands and feet together. Her and Angie and the girls did it all together. You know, and she kind of moved up with them. And I think that was super impactful because they got to see her lead and they got to see her work with other kids other than themselves.
How long did you volunteer in student ministry, John?
Whew.
I
did 1 year.
Hey, we got a spot right
Hard
now in
time.
the middle school ministry just waiting for you.
Hard
Say the
time.
word.
Solitary.
See, and then I
year.
would say the opposite. So I won't think there's a right or a wrong. I don't know if there is a right or wrong, but like Angie, she said when they got to middle school, she let them go.
Yeah.
So she went all the way through, and then it was like you kind of find your identity, you go find and go, and then we're around. But that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know, because I think it's like at what age or what point? Because she's right. I mean, John's right. Theresa and Angie did them as little kids leading and taught them all those things. Which remember when we started that was because a volunteers kid was here for multiple hours and there wasn't something to do. Right. So we just kind of put that in the middle as a trial,
need.
and it worked well. I think it went well. So I think it just goes back to, I don't think any of us are experts. We're just telling you what we learned and what we're.
And then going back to the experience thing, like another couple things that popped in my head while you were talking was two different approaches. With Lauren, she was little. She would go up to the church with me, help us set up for whatever's happening the next day. She would go to weddings that I was officiating and would hang out with me and watch how that all happened. Ashley, not so much. That was not really her thing. Now, later in life, Ashley ended up serving at the church on my team as an older person. So it's like they flipped the script.
Yep.
And that's just because Ashley's more of a practical, hands-on person. She wants a project. She's not a theologian. She doesn't really care about deep study where Lauren did. So she was intrigued by weddings and some of those, baptisms and the things that were the ordinances of the church, where Ashley's like, no, what are we doing? What are we going to do? We going to haul something, carry something, fix something? And that was more in her wheelhouse. So you got to kind of adjust to whatever your kid is into.
And I guess we're two ministers. That's what probably messes it up a little bit. Yeah. Just because it's so involved. And,
it's risky, too, because of that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then Theresa was bragging yesterday, and I 100% appreciate her bringing this up. She said that she's so thankful that here at the Simple Church, there are no expectations of spouses. Because in other environments, that is not true.
Yeah.
And so it gives them the freedom as a wife, even your kids, to do what they want to do and not feel like they have to be at an event or they have to serve. And to me, there's a big difference between having to do something and wanting to do something. So we tried, real hard not to force our kids to do anything that they didn't want to do.
So I hear about the consistency, and I think that is very important, and that's something we tried to implement even before I was on staff and even before Courtney and I got together. Courtney was here every Sunday with Layla, working both hours when we were only at 2 hours at that time, and Layla would be here all day. And so that was kind of ingrained in her, and we continued that on with Dom and Chloe as well, obviously. But I wonder if there's ever been an issue, if you've ever had to think about possible burnout of being at church for your kids. So like just and not the necessarily coming on Sundays, because we're going to do that whether we're working on staff or not, but being at every single event that we have, being here in the after hours of cleaning up or setting up and tearing down and all of these other things that go into the 2 or 3 hour event that's on the outside of those. Did that affect your kids in any way in them possibly getting burnt out on it? I see it now. They're all still in church. So if it did, they came back around, but did that ever happen?
Well, I think I'll let John say it, but the first thing I'd say is they didn't have to be at everything. So where I agree is like there would be times where if it's a church event, Angie wasn't there because they were deciding to do something else or whatever's going to go on. And although that may be good or bad depending on what's going on, because sometimes I would miss them and I wish they had seen something. But then you also have the positive of, well, they needed space and they were tired and they need to do something else, and that's okay too. I think that would be what I'd say is I don't think I'm sure, because when Angie and Theresa and them, when we were young and we were starting it out, they were here every weekend.
A lot.
Because that was what was needed to be done. My kids, and I can only speak for my kids at this point, I think they did not feel bad because it was kind of fun. So Angie's the kind that would go, hey, we're going to have we weren't pulling stuff and doing all that. It was more like they were involved. And all of them, to a degree, are going into some kind of service to other people as a result. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing, but I think it's all individual. I think every kid, a staff kid is what you're specifically speaking to. When we all kind of know the other side of it, is like we were saying. I was talking to another pastor today, and I was talking about how families now come once a month. They ain't burnt out at once a month. No. You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, dude, we really did the research at our church, which is a church in Bossier. They're there once every 6 weeks. They're not even there once a month. Right. They know for sure it's once every 6 weeks. So you're talking less than, 12
hours a year.
And then my problem, I guess, or my challenge, or the part of that is not volunteers, and not, I'm talking about them, is like, it's not very consistent. So the reason it's kind of weird and off is because it's not a part of their life. So if you're going to side on one way or another, sure, the middle is probably the best. You're not a staff kid and you're not going once every 6 weeks. You just have a consistency where you're But I look back, and here's the other thing that's really weird. Now, again, I know this doesn't work for everybody. Our mom, we didn't miss.
That's what I was going to say. As a non-staff kid, my parents got invited to church by neighbors when I was in first grade, got on fire for the Lord. They both got baptized as adults, grew up Catholic, didn't go. And then we were there every time the doors opened, and I hated it for a couple of years. And then it was really getting in a small group. That's what changed everything, was going and getting to know Chip, getting to know you, having a table leader, the roars that cared about me and asked about me. And then it slowly began to shift where I wanted to be there all the time.
Right.
But,
and I would say I was similar. Justin's right. We were at everything. Wednesday night church, Sunday morning, Sunday night, revivals, vacation Bible school, whatever else you want to list. And as soon as I remember when I turned 18, my mom said, "You can do what you want to do." I said, "See ya." And I really did. I quit going because I was burnt out and I'd just overcooked. But what's really cool when you look at the scripture, it always says that, if you invest in the kids and you teach them the truth and you make sure that they know the word, that they'll return to it. And that's 100% my story, because I can remember when I tried it my way, and I shared this in the seminar yesterday. I went through a period of years where I did it my way, and it was an absolute disaster.
Yep.
100%.
Very similar.
Because it was all just focused on me. It was an overcorrection to being overexposed to too much church. So I do think there is a balance in there, but I also just want to offer up the encouragement from my own testimony that I do believe that the word is going to return in that person, and in their right time and in the right circumstance. They get to the end of themselves and they go back to that foundation.
That was in yesterday's message.
Right.
I heard.
Absolutely.
So let's go on the flip side of that then. Is there something you did you wish you hadn't done? Like, I think about my parents going back and, they had to thread that needle of forcing us to go versus knowing, okay, how often do we go? So what is something that you wish you had
Double
done?
down on that question. I want to hear that.
Anything you can
I'd
think
have
of?
to give that some thought,
That's all right.
honestly.
That's all good. You think about
The
it.
only thing, like I told you, it's more.
You learn from other people what they did.
No, I would just say I would still go back to. I think there is a weird line and a weird balance in that spirituality is based on activity. And so what I mean by that is like how many times you're there, how many times you go, did you do
we got
this?
jewels literally for sure.
Right, whatever's going on. So, and then what I would say is that whenever we did stuff for other people outside of what was required of a church for itself, it was better for all of us. So if you look in our journey, like when I look back and go, what do you wish you'd have done more of, or you wouldn't have done a lot of, is like, think about it. It's like when you go and serve another group of any kind, of whatever level. I mean, me and Putt was having a bad week, one of my buddies. He was like, man, I need to do something for somebody. And this is not an exaggeration. He was not in a good place, and Putt is not afraid of me telling it. He was just like, and I said, well, let me call Robin. Robin said, man, there's these boxes for these schools. And we went and loaded them up in the back of his truck. We did not even take probably total loading, driving to Linwood, unloading, and leaving 30 minutes. It was changed everything for him and me because of what happened for those people. They're immediately encouraging, like, oh my gosh, there's something where, like, you come to Sunday school class, you may have a good leader one year, and then the next year, maybe they're all volunteers, so maybe they're not as loving or as kind, but I was going back to when we do Common Ground or something, like, there's very rarely that you leave out of that and your kids are like, that was horrible. They usually, because there were other kids, it was something not about them. They were, whether it was packing, because I remember Hannah, this is one example. I remember Hannah going with Ray Rushing and doing Common Ground and refusing to miss. But would she necessarily go sit into a care group where it would? I mean, okay, maybe. It just depended on the day. But there was something about getting beyond herself that was very rewarding. Your kids already do it. You already see it in them. They always ask, like, these are just bragging on their kids, but they really are that way. They're coming in, hey, can I? That to me is the secret sauce.
Nora's asking to come early to help.
Yeah, because
we're not making her.
Yeah, because the secret sauce to me is like if Jesus said it, that the Son of God did not come to be served, but to serve, then, and if you look in the New Testament, all of the religious scholars and all the people were not the heroes of the story. I think that's pretty obvious. And then he went into all these other places to do all these other things. Maybe that's something we should encourage and fan, when I'm talking about fan the flame on, and give those kids those experiences. Because like me going to Juarez with the high schoolers, something different happens. I went to them when they played golf. They had a little golf night, and it was fun, and there's nothing wrong with all that. But, boy, there's just some different. Mm-hmm. When they're serving or when they're going, hey, let me do this. And that's where I go back to hands and feet. Angie and Theresa and them back then even had, hey, today's cleanup day. They'd walk around they wouldn't just sit in there.
The pens, yeah.
They would go pick up trash or hand out donuts, and something changes in your kids. So, yes, you can burn out doing that too. So I'm not saying it's everything, but I go back and go, I think also, like, think about church like in the South. We kind of are all the same. So, like, I'm not being silly. It's kind of we're kind of from the same neighborhoods, roughly. Mm-hmm. We're kind of the same socioeconomic. Even you kind of gravitate back to the same kind of even political system. It's kind of the same. So when you put them out of that, and like look at our kids in there, there's something about going, boy, this is different. I see things differently. I learn, and that there's someone that can be spiritual that's not exactly like you, that can really connect with Jesus, that may not be your denomination or may not be your skin color,
your age,
may not be your age, may not be your same. So all of those things like that, the body of Christ is big and diverse and different. And the more you can give them, I think back like going to Mission Arlington when y'all were young.
Yeah.
And we took y'all over there and you go, like, this is different. I remember student life camp. I remember
that chain link fence.
Yeah, like when we went to student life camp the first time ever, camp was always, it's about you.
Rec.
Mm-hmm. It's rec, and you're going to win the championship, and you're getting the medal, and that. Then finally they were like, hey, what if we change that up? And our kids were like, that's what I was looking for. I mean, that was the Chips, the Julies, I could go through the Daniels. That was all. It's weird to me because that's the part that I go like, we still do a lot, but like if you go, because we did a lot, food boxes. I remember taking my kids to go deliver food boxes and them going like, they're in a different neighborhood. Like Theresa worked at Bossier Elementary, but your kids aren't working at Bossier Elementary. So it's like, no, this is my life as an adult, but let me introduce, well, those kids are sweet, and then this is their story, and they buy into that differently. And there's a spiritual lesson in there. And here's the biggest reason why. Arrogant, self-centered kids are the worst to deal with. So I was a student minister a long time, and so parents would go like, they're so entitled. They don't want to do anything for anybody. They don't care about anybody but themselves. So if you're going to show them different, you kind of got to let them experience different, and somehow that changes that. Well, there's no difference in an arrogant, self-centered church. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, well, this is what we do. It's who we are, and you need to. I'm like, now that's just one guy's take, but that would be my take.
Go,
man. I don't know what I wouldn't do. Honestly, I do agree that anytime you can take the focus off of yourself, it's a win. And when you have young kids, when they're really little, I think it's easier than when they're teenagers. Mm-hmm. When I think back to when the girls were, very small, they just kind of follow wherever you go, and they're usually happy to help, and they don't overthink it. I remember the most challenging years were the teen years, and it's mainly
That's
because
the hard part.
Yeah, it's just because
you think
that was
it's the
Jim
hard part.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's hard when
think
you're
that's
young.
the hard
Oh,
part.
no,
Yeah.
That's not the hard part.
Parenting adult kids is a whole nother. But yeah, I remember the challenge really start when they're teens, and it's mainly because of peer pressure and expectations around them, and I remember a lot of discussions about what people were driving and what they were wearing, and but the good news for us is we were surrounded by people that didn't base their value on that. So they had other friends that got it too.
Right.
Where I really, feel for families is when they're surrounded by people that think that's the essence of life. Mm-hmm. And it's an unwinnable competition because somebody's always going to have a nicer vehicle, nicer clothes, better vacation. And we had moments where we had to talk through that. And I can honestly say now, with them being adults now, I think that went well. Like when you see what they value now and how they see life and how they work hard for what they have, as a parent, that's pretty awesome to see, because you hope that they are getting it, and you hope they understand that it's not about what you have, but it's who's around you and who can you serve and how can you make a difference. And I think that would be, the challenge that was most challenging, but it's paid off.
And then I would add one other thing in there too. Just think about it, because I'm thinking of like all of our kids, and then I think of all your, is that you have to celebrate the diversity and the uniqueness of each kid, because like every kid is different. So why would we want them or think that they're going to learn like you or study like you or desire the same things as you exactly like you? When the truth is if they love Jesus and they're trying to figure that journey out, and may look different for them and different from one than it does the other, just like it does in denominations and walks and everything else, and then you give them the freedom to kind of figure that out, that's a cool thing. Because what happens is it's like we all think conformity is
it's easier for us.
Right. It's like, and
100%.
the truth is like it may not look the same, man. It may not be the same, and that's okay. And so like the cool thing is, like, I mean, we kind of joke about it, but I took my kids to black church, and we were joking about it, but like Hannah really connects with that style more. So she's the one really who comes home, and I'd be like, and we joked about it this past Sunday, won't he do it? Well, but we went with Wendell and them to their church. We served and repaired things, and then went to church with them, and then I spoke at this church or that church. Well, that diversity is another beautiful thing that people go like, that's cool. Or a charismatic church, or a super conservative church, a Catholic, more liturgical or whatever. There's no, like, you have your in-laws. Like when we went to a funeral with John's and Teresa's family's got some Catholic background in it, and we grew up that way. But when the kids have never seen all that, there's some things that you can appreciate and go, hey, these are all people trying to figure it out the same way. They all got the same Jesus. They're just living that out a little bit different. And then that's okay to be a little different. Now, obviously, we're different. I mean, the Simple Church is different, but you figure out your path. So if yours choose to go a little bit more conservative or a little bit more this, that's cool. But I was talking to that other pastor today at lunch. Y'all had all walked out, and me and him were sitting there talking, and I was thinking back to when we came in from Nashville in 1993, that in the Baptist church, drums were new in the Baptist church. Well, we had come from First Assembly where we were Denny Durham. That wasn't new. So we had left the Baptist church, both of us. John had left it too. So did I, because I went for music reasons. He went for girl reasons, which that's I mean, God's everywhere. Go with the women. That was John's might have idea. Really, it was Theresa, because we kind of got that way. But Theresa had grown up with a little bit more charismatic background. Well, I was in the same run-ins with some of her friends, because that was how music was expressed. Well, in the Baptist church, it wasn't. When we got in there, my mom never got on to me for going that way. My mom never said, you got to be back in this, and this is the way it was. It was like, man, you love to go on, do what you got to do. So then I even went as far as Mississippi Mass Choir. I was one of the only white guys in there. But because at that time, that was a reflection of worship that was not anywhere in our cultures. So like me and Greg, we joke about it, but I remember going to Hearst Coliseum and appreciating everything about that. Like, man, that's a cool, they got something. Well, First Assembly had it too. When we first went in, and all I'm saying on that is like your kids may be trying to figure that out. If it's Jesus centered, it's okay. Let them figure it out. I mean, and it may look or be a little different than what you're accustomed to, but it's okay. Like, let them figure out their journey, and then answer the questions and walk through, and then expose them to what they can expose. Like, if you see things early and different, that's not always a bad thing either. Right. You can know what to like and what not to like.
And have conversations with them.
Yes.
I mean, you're there as the parent walking through. So Mallory taking Nora to Juarez, she got to go with her. They got to experience that together.
It was awesome.
But they also get to go, John was on that trip, and so she was there doing that, and they got to go and have that now for the rest of their life.
And I'm just telling you, all of those spiritual moments, and that was the reason, like, there was a time we didn't have a student pastor, you may remember, and me and Christy A. became the student pastor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, here in Simple Church, there was nobody to. Yeah, so we were like, and both of our kids were in student ministry. And then we went and we took back on that role, which was next level, because my kids, I don't know if they would think that was a positive or a negative, but I remember going to Six Flags, and we were all on this trip together, and I can remember them going, this is cool because my parents are there to experience that, but then there's also that tension of like, I don't know if I want my parents here while I'm experiencing this.
Right.
So to me, it's asking God to give you the wisdom of, I would say if it's a serving opportunity, don't miss it, because God does something different in that. If it is going to Six Flags and you're going, maybe they want that space and that freedom to go spread their wings, and we got good leaders and chaperones. Because like a Davin is somebody who's like a brother to them now, but he was their chaperone, and they sent a picture of them all together. So there's people that you have relationships with that it means something to them. And Hannah goes to Korea with him. I mean, like all these years later, because it's connected. And I just go back to, those are things that, those experiences and things, but just the ministry side of it or the serving side of it, I wouldn't miss it going. I hate missing it when my kids go do it. I want them to experience it.
One more thing that popped in my head that I was thinking about my wife that she's really good at, that Mom was also good at, because he mentioned how Mom didn't really freak out whenever we either didn't go to church like I didn't, or he went somewhere else away from where she was, is the prayer warrior side of it.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that our mom prayed for both of us constantly.
Oh yeah.
And I do believe Angie and Theresa are in that same category. And I think as parents, it's not to say that me and Justin don't pray for our kids, because I know we do, but we're talking about moms right now.
They're next level.
All the moms that are listening out there, you may not see the result right now, but in time, 100% that pays off.
Yeah.
And I can remember when I finally came back to church, who I went to was my mom. And I went to her and I said, hey, I don't think this worked out too good. And she was going to a church different than the one we were going to when I left church. And I sat next to her on a Sunday morning in the pew. And that was my reintroduction, back into church. So, and I know it had to be a big day for her. I'm sure she was waiting for that day for me to finally get to the place to where I wanted to be back.
Probably been praying for that day.
Yeah.
And then I'll even add on there, and I think John will say this, because if you're a parent and you feel like you failed, Mom also failed. Like, she walked away from the faith.
She did.
And we talked about that, and then just like us, she came back to the faith.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is like there's no, like then she was so strong for us. Like it was so the anchor. And then I remember I went by there one day when she lived over there. I think you were on McCutcheon or whatever, and she was just like, I'm out, And I was like, you're out. You don't get to get out. Like, then what are you?
You're the anchor.
Yeah,
right.
She was like, I'm out. Well, and everybody acts like, well, she was, but God never was out on her. She was just frustrated. She was, walking through chasing really what God's doing, and anger and a lot of stuff's going on. Yeah. Well, then we were old enough then to kind of go, okay, she'll come back, surely, and she did, just like we did.
How crazy to think about God pouring into your mom, helping lead her to pour into y'all, so that one day you guys would help lead her back.
Oh, and it was definitely back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times that both of us together and our separately, picked her up and carried her through life circumstances, but 100% she picked us up too. It was definitely both ways.
So then what's funny, and I'll go one other thing because we're going back to parents, we'll go back to my dad. Now, here's what's interesting about my dad. Growing up, he really was just a quiet Christian man. I mean, he had leadership roles, but he wasn't a strong, like, sit us down. But as he aged, the thing that was really cool to me is he never missed mission trips. Like, all the pictures in his life, he started going for these experiences and things. Now, the regret that I would have, and I think my dad, he didn't take us. Like, that's one thing I wish we would have experienced together.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, like, he would always be very proud. Man, I want you to go. Now, he did go to Juarez with us, and we got to experience that, like, on our end. But he had gone to Jamaica, and he had gone to Africa. But he was in another church in North Carolina. But I go back to in age, and you're looking back, and he's gone now, and here we are. It's like you don't want to miss those moments. You want to have those moments. So whether that was Nora and Juarez or whatever, you don't get but one time around the merry-go-round. you know, and like and you're in this journey, you want them to have those experiences and those moments, and it's not too late to go, hey, let's
still want to do it with you. Like you're saying, as they get older and age out of not wanting you around,
and
start
go,
earlier.
Right. And then if and plan it just because there's something special about it. I mean, there really is something unique and awesome about those moments. So, you know, plan them, do them.
That's it. If you want some more parenting advice, Capable Parenting this Sunday, 10 a.m. Sign up on the app. You can go on the website. We'd love to get you here. Seminar, childcare. You can drop your kids off. Get here with us. John and Theresa did spiritual disciplines last time. Brian Reed's going to do one on grief coming up in 2 weeks. We'd love for you to check those out. It's 50 minutes, guys, flying by. We got some folks watching. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, thanks for watching with us. Thanks for commenting. If you're listening later, email us podcast at thesimplechurch.tv. There were back to school lunches. Terry said, shout out Oak Terrace.
Oh, we were there.
That's right. And did it with you. Tina said, we had home-cooked meals at Spring Hill in the 80s. So I guess there was somebody that cooked and brought it to them.
I'm going to have to ask Putt about that.
All right. Let us know. Thanks for watching,
That's
Tina.
next
Tina, she
Well,
knows.
that's it.
Tina, that's next level. Tina knows. She's in Spring Hill, though.
That's it. Lynette says hi, waved. And then Dan Perkins said, there's a lot of legs on this video.
Yeah, there is. Dan,
Short sleeve pants, baby.
Dan, we don't want
It's
to make
hot.
you struggle. It's hot out there. So.
It's hot. Absolutely. And then
I'm
David
thankful we get to
Johnson
wear them.
said, I have really enjoyed giving back as a volunteer since 2010. It's fulfilling to me. I love getting to volunteer with you guys.
Yeah.
So
Thanks
thank you,
for David.
Absolutely. So thanks for listening. Anything else, John? Last chance for 3 years. We see you again.
I'll try to make it back a little quicker.
We'll bring him back sooner.
Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening, subscribing, wherever you're at. Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, or the Facebook. Have a great week.